Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah's Kesubos, Parak Dalet, Chapter 4, Mishna Zayin, Mishna 7. Now, we have been discussing how the basic payment of a ksuba is that when the husband dies or divorces his wife, he now becomes obligated to pay her. If she was married as a virgin, 200 zuz, and if she was not a virgin, it's 100 zuz. And this all gets written into the ksuba. Ksuba is a document. What if he doesn't write her a ksuba? He didn't write it. Does he still have to pay? So says the Mishnah, ksuba. Let's say he did not write a ksuba for her. He didn't write the document. He didn't write it. And then they get married, and he dies, or he divorces her. Besula gaiva masayim, a man who was married as a virgin will collect 200 zuz. Lamana mana, and a widow or divorcee will get a mana, 100 zuz. B'bnei shnu tanai bezdin, because this is a requirement made by Beis. That means our sages, they decreed that this is what these women get. Whether you write the document or not doesn't make a difference. You're supposed to write a document. But if you don't write the document, meaning you basically try to get out of it, that doesn't help. It's a requirement that was made by the Beis, by our sages, and therefore there's the obligation to pay it. Now, next case. Kasav lo yisodeh shavemona tachas mazayim zuz. He wrote a ksuba, but this is what he wrote in the ksuba. He's a good guy. He wrote her, a field worth 100 will be in place of her 200 zuz. That means he wrote in the document that, two things, basically. He said, you're not getting 200 zuz. Even though Maddie is a virgin, 200 zuz you're not going to get. You're going to get 100 zuz, and you'll only be able to collect it from a specific field. That's what he's doing here. He wrote to her a field worth 100 zuz in place of the 200 zuz. So again, he's giving her less than he's supposed to give her, and he's trying to make her that she can only collect from a specific field. And he didn't write to her, and he did not write in the ksuba, all my property is pledged to you for your ksuba, which is what he's supposed to write in the ksuba. Not supposed to specify and say you can only collect from this certain thing. He's supposed to write, all my property is pledged towards the payment of your ksuba. But that's not what he did. Instead, he wrote a field of 100 zuz in place of your 200, chayiv. He is still obligated. That means he's obligated to pay the 200, and it comes from any of these properties. Shehu Tanai Beis. Again, this was a requirement made by the Beis that says that she gets her 200 zuz, you can't give her less, and that you cannot specify and say you can only collect from a specific field. All his property is pledged towards it, which means that our Mishna, the case was that he wrote her the 100 zuz field in place of your 200. The same thing would apply if he said it's a 200 zuz field, meaning he's going to give her the amount that he's supposed to give her. But again, he only wants to specify. He wants to say that the payment can only come from a specific field. Doesn't work. At the end of the day, it's a Tanai Bezdin, a requirement of Bezdin, that all his properties are pledged towards the payment of her ksuba. Okay, so we're going through the conditions where a person would be able to basically say rechilas about someone for the constructive purpose, which the example being used is to warn him not to go into partnership with him. So the fourth condition is the following: Hu yachal esabev es hatoyeles hazum bli sheyitztarech garas lafanav inyan of lara. If it's possible to accomplish what you want to without revealing the bad stuff about this person, ein lesaper alav, then you don't tell it. Meaning, you're trying to tell this person, you're trying to prevent a person from going to a partnership with another person. Your options are to tell the person who wants to take him to a partner that this guy is no good, or you have some other option to prevent the partnership from coming about without having to say anything bad about the other person. If that's possible to do, then you're not allowed to go ahead and say the bad about the person, but you should employ the other means to make sure the partnership doesn't come about, again, to protect the person from getting harmed. Next, then it shall yareyu imay mamash. Rak shetusa mimenu ayidei zeh ha'toiva shayoisi imay hashekenegdoi. After bevelo dabezehu raloi b'kamoke mutter. The only thing that can come out from what you're doing is basically, he doesn't, let's put it this way. He wanted to go into a partnership, and they're preventing a partnership. Okay, it's not a great thing, but you're not directly harming the person, or you're not causing direct harm. What's going to happen from your story if you tell this person, don't go into partnership with this guy, for whatever reason that he's no good? All right, you don't go into partnership with him, and that's it. That's it. Because as long as nothing more is going to happen to this person because of what is being told about him, just that, he's not going to go ahead, you're not going to make the partnership. Not having a partnership could harm the person. But again, you just are basically stopping this thing from coming together, but not that that what you're going to say is going to cause some kind of direct damage to the person. Aser l'saper olav. Because if some kind of bad is going to come to this person, actual bad, then you can't tell it. Meaning if for some reason or another, by you telling this person, don't go into a partnership with him because he's this and this. So because of that news, right, the person you're telling to is going to go ahead and go after him. He's going to embarrass him. He's going to insult him. He's going to cause him a loss of money. If that's what's going to happen from the rechilas that you're saying, your intention is just to make sure it doesn't go into a partnership. But if now by telling this person why not go into the partnership, that person will now go and harm that person, will somehow or another go after him for some reason, then you can't go ahead and tell him. Because for that, there are other conditions that are needed. And all the more so, if let's say, again, I don't have a good example of this, but if by telling this person, don't go into a partnership with that person because of the fact that he can do this and this. And now because of that, what's going to happen now is that some kind of harm will come to him that he doesn't even deserve. Maybe he's got his shortcomings, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden now, he's hefker and anything can happen to him. So therefore, you got to make sure that when you're telling you got to make sure that when you tell this person not to go into a partnership, and you tell him why, that the only result of that is the breakup of the partnership and everything that happened. Okay, and unfortunately, maybe you won't have a parnasa because of it. But the point is that what you're trying to accomplish is to protect the guy. If that's all that's going to come from it, that's good. If more is going to come from it as a harm to the person that you told him not to go into partnership for, more harm is going to come to him because of what you're saying, then you're not allowed to say it. Then there's going to need more prat, more details to be able, more conditions to be able to continue telling that person what you want to tell him. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.